views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program host and do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by TCN TV Network Incorporated. Due to the social nature of this broadcasting channel, videos may contain content copyrighted by another entity or person. The TCN TV Network claims no rights to the said content. TCN TV Network cannot be held accountable for the copyrighted content. TCN TV Network is a messenger and sharer of information and strives to verify but cannot warrant the accuracy of copyrights or completeness of the information on this program.
And then we expand on them with very. I'll finish off the change by buying them. Pardon? What? And it took me a while to decipher what he was saying. I came up with we can get better at what we're weak at, and we can even get better at what we're strong at. What makes communication healthy or effective? And
Hello, and welcome. Welcome to this edition of What Matters. I am your host, Erica Elita, and today we are talking about words. Words matter. So if you didn't get a chance to check out Here to Help, which airs every Tuesday at 5, right before this show, you have to, after this show, take a listen. The show was amazing. I learned a lot, and it actually gave me a lot of material for reflection. What's really interesting is that the topics kind of overlap. So it's like continuous learning today. And it was a special privilege for me because I rarely get to listen to the show because I'm actually on. You may have noticed that I am kind of doing it remotely today. So welcome. And today we're going to talk about words. So words, we use them all the time. They matter. They're very, very impactful. If you think about the weight of your words, they can change worlds. So we're going to start off talking about communication styles, how we speak to others, which has a really big effect on how we speak, how we look at ourselves. And then we're going to talk a bit about self-talk. So those are the conversations that we have with ourselves. Actually, it's usually a monologue, and it's the little voice in your head saying things to you. And today we're going to discover if that voice is negative or positive, and the words that we can use to enrich ourselves, to build ourselves up, and to grow ourselves. The opposite of that would be us tearing ourselves down, tearing others down, minimizing our growth, actually paralyzing us in fear and self-doubt. So words matter. Now, let's start at the beginning. I'm a lover of words. What is that called? That's actually called a logophile. That is someone who loves words, and I am a lover of words. The English language has, I believe it was, and I'll check quickly and see, but I think it's 175,000 words that we use. I believe. I'm going to double check. I hope I'm not too far off. And so to me, because there are so many words, it gives us the ability to express ourselves very specifically. Now, in this world of technology, we've all gone tech. A lot of people prefer text messaging to phone calls. And if you're one of those people, I would love to see it in the comments. I'd like a little informal vote here. Are you someone who prefers text messages, or do you prefer an old-fashioned pick up the phone and call me? Now, text messages are great to get simple points across. You want to let somebody know some information, an address, you've arrived, you're leaving. Texts are perfect for that. But what has happened is a lot of people are having pretty complicated conversations by text. And a lot can get lost in your message because communication is made up of three things. There's the receiver, there's the sender, and there's the message. And all of those things together make up communication. So if your receiver is not getting your message the way you're intending it as the sender, communication breaks down. And what happens with text messaging is that so much is in your tone, your volume, and your pace. That really tells us a lot about the message that is being given to us. So, for example, as I explain to people all the time, there's a really big difference between no and no. And the only difference was my tone, and maybe my volume. So there's a lot in how we say what we say that conveys what we mean. So even though text messages are great, and I am guilty of that too, but what I realize, and if you're someone who prefers texting, maybe think more deeply about why, because I'm always here telling you to do what? Think about your thinking. So why do you prefer text messages? Is it that you prefer not to connect? Do you feel that the conversation isn't important and isn't worthy of your time? Those are, yes, exactly, Selena, the thinking cap. Think about your thinking. And that is my one of my main messages. I just am here to I want you to think about why you think the way that you do. And it's like a rabbit hole. It goes so deep. So if you're one of those people who prefers a text message to a phone call, maybe it's because you actually want to be a little bit disconnected. So perhaps reflect on that a little bit. So words. We are a lover of words, logophiles. There's even etymology, which is the study of the origin of words, how meanings change over time. And that's actually another interesting subtopic, is how the meaning of words change over time, and how in each generation sometimes, or due to, I don't know if it's necessarily a generational thing, perhaps it is, but the meanings of words do change. For example, if you look at the definition of the word bad as is, it's a negative. But we know that in our lexicon, in our language, bad is also meant to be good, which could be very confusing for a non native English speaker because, like Michael Jackson said a few decades ago, I'm bad, I'm bad. And he didn't mean I'm awful, he meant I'm like extraordinary. So, yes, the meaning of words do change over time. Now, an interesting phenomenon, social media has changed everything. What has happened is that the masses have become the originators of the information. They have become the originators of our entertainment. And so there are some words that change even more quickly. It doesn't take the 5 years or the 10 years. Sometimes it takes weeks. Sometimes it literally takes days for a word that was very obscure to become very popular. However, because I'm a lover of words and I am a lover of the study of the origins and so forth, that really does matter to me. So I will just go for it before we go for this break. The N word. That is an absolute perfect example of how, allegedly, my opinion, words have changed meaning over time. Now, the proponents for using the N word gratuitously in referral to their friends and their, the people that they know that look like them, say that it's an empowerment. It's taking back the word and using the word, for us as opposed to against us. My stances and how I'm looking at it is simply this: how do you take back something that was never yours? It is not a word that was perverted by someone else to mean something else than the positive thing it originally meant. It was always meant as a negative word, it had a negative connotation. And for many, many years, my ancestors, and probably some of yours, that was one of the last words they heard before they died violently. That was a word that was used to put them down and to make them feel bad. And although I understand the transformation and the growth and the movement of words and language and how it changes, that is one word that I don't see growth in and I don't see change in. And I actually feel that it is completely undermining our community. And there's this message, subliminal messaging. It's really, really strong. All the images that you see day to day, all those words that you see that you think you don't pay attention to, you do. They become ingrained in your subconscious. And when we talk about indoctrination, often people are talking about religion, but there's the indoctrination of popular culture. We know what the McDonald's sign looks like. We know what the Wendy's sign looks like. So we know what the Esso sign looks like. So in this, in our young people now hearing this on the radio at 7 a.m. and hearing people casually say that, I think there's a desensitization going on. And I would love to hear your feedback. So we're going to break, but take the time, type in the comments, let me know what you think. Are you a texter? Do you know why? And how do you feel about the N word? Is it something that's evolved and changed? So give us your comments, like, share, let people know I'm on air, and we will be right back after this break.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Welcome back to this edition of What Matters. I'm Erica Elita. I'm here with you on TCN Network every Tuesday, and today we are talking about words. Things we use all the time, we casually throw out. Once we learn to talk, we often don't think about it much. But today, I would like you to change that. Today, I would like you to think about what you say, how you say it, why you're saying it. You know me, I'm always here trying to encourage you to think, think, think. So, let's get back to it. So we spoke a little bit about the origin of words, the changing of words through time, and, I touched on a pet peeve of mine, something that for me personally is of issue. Like, the word bad has become good. The word, of course, there's others that I'm not thinking of right now, but another word that has become, part of general everyday conversation now, the N word. You hear it in the songs. I have a 10-year-old son, and we hear it on the radio in the morning sometimes when we're driving. And I really wonder the impact on his soul. I wonder the impact on the way he thinks and he looks at other people. And he's even asked me why his own big brother would call his friends that. Now, obviously, not to my liking, but it is the language of the day. And I would love to know your opinions on that. So let's get back to words, their importance, how they work, how they build, how they destroy. So, Selena, there's that quote about the tongue. I like that one. If you could pull that up. So there's so many sayings about our words because our words are so powerful and they can build or they can break. And the tongue has no bones, but it is strong enough to break a heart. So be careful with your words. I think that is very powerful because the tongue has no bones and it is one of the most powerful muscles in your body. It has great effect on your mental health, on your physical health. Believe it or not, we're going to get right to that. Yes, what you say, those conversations you have in your head affect your physical health. And where we're going right now is words in your office, in your workplace, how words build us up, how words can tear us down. So one of the things now, Selena just popped that up, and that's a great one. That's the little talk bubbles, all the little thought bubbles that we have, and the things that we say to ourselves daily. And this is what I mean about self-talk, which are you can't sing, you won't get the job. What were you thinking? It's a mistake waiting to happen. Loser. So those are some of the things that sometimes we think to ourselves. But now we're going to go into the workplace and how people interact with each other. Now, I'm sure that everybody has had the experience of a bad boss, a bad manager, a bad supervisor. And what I've come to understand through looking at businesses and how they work is that the person in charge, or the person in charge, especially of the humans, can build that company up or tear it down. And we've seen companies completely turn around because they brought in a new CEO, they brought in new management, and the reverse has happened as well. So let's talk about, Selena, that slide with your words matter, and it has a little chart. If we could pull that one up. So I really like this one because we're going to just go through it really briefly, and I'm going to show you and tell me if you don't actually feel the difference. So instead of saying to someone, be quiet, can you use a softer voice? What a mess. It looks like you have fun. Can we clean up? Um, do you have any questions? What questions do you have? You're okay. How are you feeling? It's not that hard. You can do hard things. I really like that one. We don't talk like that. Please use kind words. Do you see, can you feel, can you hear the difference? But most importantly, can you feel the difference? The one that I really liked is, it's not that hard. People say that all the time. I say it all the time. This list actually, and you can tell it's geared a little bit more towards children, but I think it's applicable to adults. This list, when I first read it, it made me feel a little guilty because I know I say things like that. Um, and so something as simple as, it's not that hard. um, think about all the underlying messages to that. Well, you're not doing it and it's not that hard. And then it leads to, so what's wrong with me? Why can't I do it? Why can't I do it if it's not that hard? But just flipping it around and saying you can do hard things, you're affirming the person. It makes such a big difference. So again, words matter. You can get the same message out, but say it in a way that is going to affirm the person. The other one that I really liked, and these are words, these are typed words, but email like a boss. So in our emails, I've seen so many cute, funny memes, and where the translation, like, as per my last email in street, that's, do you read? Those emails, those are really funny. But what I like about this one is it really gives you, again, it makes you think about the way that you speak. So sorry for the delay. Thanks for your patience. Same thing, right? But no, it's not. What works best for you? Could you do this time? You give them a time. No problem. No worries. Those words, no, no. Even though you're saying it's no problem, it's still the word no, and it's still the word problem. Always happy to help. And then, you guys can read. But I love this list because, again, it makes you so conscious of how easy it can be to change your tone, to change your words, and to convey your message, but leaving the receiver feeling positive about it. So, again, I think that's something that we really need to look at on a daily basis, especially in our workplaces, and especially if you are in a place of um, management. If you are a manager, if you're in charge of anyone else, really pay attention to how your words are either building up your staff or tearing them down. Are you encouraging them? Are you discouraging them? And then the last one in this group, and I think this is really important. Now, I've noticed this in a lot of women, especially, and it's very reflective of what's going on in their mind. And some people are chronic apologizers. They are constantly saying they are sorry. Even, and yes, I know it's a Canadian thing too, but even when the situation doesn't apply, like bumping into someone, or no, someone bumping into you and you automatically saying sorry. wanting to pass by someone and instead of saying excuse me, saying sorry. It is very reflective of your mental state. So, Selena, that slide, I'm sure I'm going to have to go to break soon. Stop apologizing and start thanking. So, again, that idea of affirming the other person. Apologies come when something is done wrong. And we should be, I would say, quick. Uh, we should apologize when we are wrong in an authentic way. However, it it leaves this impression of wrongness. So I really like this list. I hope you guys find it of use. I will post it on my page on Facebook, Erica Elita. You'll find me there. And I'm sorry and I don't know why they have always there. That's bad. I'm sorry I'm late. Thank you for waiting for me. Isn't that so different? Isn't that cool how different that would make someone feel? You show up somewhere, you're like, thanks so much for waiting for me. Wow, I think that is super powerful. Um, I'm sorry wow, this person has some issues. I'm sorry I always mess up, or I'm sorry I messed up. I'll change that. Thank you for being patient when I make a mistake. You're empowering the person, you're appreciating the person, and you are admitting to what you have done. You are acknowledging it, you are taking ownership of it, and putting the person's graciousness for accepting what you have done, putting it out there. And I think that changes so much the feeling of the interaction. And the last one, I mean, there's a few, but I like this one too. I'm sorry for talking so much. Thank you for listening to me. And again, this is another list that I found when researching this segment that I will be using for myself. I've been very cautious of not saying sorry all the time, because I also think it minimizes when you're actually sorry about something because you always sound so apologetic. And again, think about what's happening in the person's mind. The person who's always apologizing, what so, um, when we come back from this break, we're going to speak a bit about the speaking within your family, speaking to your loved ones, speaking to your friends, and how that works out on a personal level. We'll be right back after this break.
At Benjamin Law, we understand the real cost of personal injuries. As the victim of an accident, you may be the one who's physically hurt, but your main concern is that your family are the ones who will pay the price. Benjamin Law will be there for you, helping, supporting, and working tirelessly to resolve your personal injury case. Call 1-855-899-4878 or visit benjaminlaw.ca and let our family of lawyers help your family.
Welcome back to this edition of What Matters. I'm Erica Elita, and today we are talking about the weight of your words, how much words matter. I love this picture. If you can make out any of the words, don't worry, I am here, I need help. And really, that's what words can do. They can hug you, it can feel as powerful as a physical hug or a physical punch. Please watch your words. Be mindful of what you say. to others and to yourself. So we just spoke about words at the office, words with our coworkers, how we speak to them. Selena had pulled up the actually Dave and Simone on Here to Help that was on right before the show. You've got to take a listen. They spoke in depth more about communication styles and the types of communication styles people have. And we usually think of passive, aggressive, and then there's assertive, which is right in the middle. It's a wonderful place to be. Here, this one that Selena has up, those are different communication styles, the kinds, and usually we hear passive, aggressive, assertive, but I like this one, direct. Are you a direct speaker? Could be seen as passive, aggressive, perhaps, spirited. Are great storytellers. A lot of the people you follow on YouTube, they are spirited, they're full of passion, and that is why you listen to them. Some people are systematic, others are considerate, and so they actually do a lot of listening, and they tend to reflect back what you're saying. But being reflective of your own communication style can bring an awareness to you. You can start to better understand your strengths, because in every style of communication, there is a strength that you can play up on. And then, of course, there's some things that maybe you could drop from your repertoire. So figure out the type of communicator you are. And I'm going to tell you something that's going to shock you. Ask the people around you what type of communicator you are, because you may think you're one type of communicator, but actually no, you're not. You are you are seen as a completely different type of communicator. So again, what are we going to do? We're going to think about our thinking. So words matter, words have power. What we say to people really matter, but it's how we say it. So even though I said we were going to talk about, more personal relationships than work, unfortunately, work is actually where we spend the majority of our time. The majority of our waking day is often spent with our coworkers more than our friends. And I'll give you a little bit of an example of two completely different scenarios in an office environment. So I worked with a lady, and I'm guilty. I nicknamed her Giggle Girl. Yes, I did. I nicknamed the woman Giggle Girl because she was always giggling. So, what I found though is that it was when she was communicating with men. Her voice would go up. She'd laugh a lot, even when nothing funny was said. And that high pitched voice always made me cringe personally. And I felt that what she was trying to do was minimize herself. She was trying to make herself smaller and less threatening, and not speaking directly and doing a lot of laughing. And it made me feel as though they also didn't take her as seriously. I felt that she minimized herself as to not offend, especially as her position as a young woman in a company that was mostly men. The flip side of that, I have another friend who is, according to our list, she's a very passionate, impassioned speaker. So, on a personal level, as you see, I'm a hand talker. I do speak with my hands, and she's very much so like that. So she really like talking like that. And what she was finding is people were taking that as aggression. So, yes, be your authentic self, but there's a time and a place for everything. So, again, your body language, your tone, your facial expression, all of those that actually says more than the words that you say often. So, you have to couple them both together. But on a personal note, everything that I've said about work could be implemented at home. It's a very interesting phenomenon. A lot of people bring their best selves outside of their house. So they will get to work with a smile for the people they work with. They ask people about their weekends and their days. They're very pleasant to the people at work and, during their commute. And then they get home and they drop the face and they throw their bag down. They're like, oh, yes, home is a place that you let down your hair and you get comfortable. However, the people that you live with, the people that are your family, the people that you love deserve the best of you. So, again, in your decompression, in that letting go of all the stresses of the day, are you pooping on the people that you live with? Is that what's happening? Are you being clear in your communication of maybe needing some decompression time? and saying that, you know what, it's so nice to see you, hun. I'm just going to take 10 minutes, go take off my stuff. I'll be back. The words that we say and the expressions on our face, they matter so much, and they can completely change the atmosphere of your home. So again, clear communication. A lot of people believe, and this goes out to the couples and even parents and children that have lived together for a long time. You start to believe that the person should know who you are and how you are and what you are. But if you stop and you reflect, when is the last time that you clearly articulated that need or that dislike or that desire from the person? Do you have regular family meetings or roommate meetings? Anyone that you share a space with, you should convene with them on a regular basis. It may not be formal, it may be informal, but to check in with one another and see if what is actually happening in your house is what you want to happen. So here we talk about the unsaid. A lot of long-term couples, married couples, parents, children, siblings, mothers, daughters, sons, they feel that because they've known each other for a long time, people should just know. And I think it's good every once in a while to go back and refresh in conversation, in, there we go, the power of words, what it is that we need and we require from one another, and what's working, what's not working. So, Selena, unfortunately, she can't signal to me, but I believe I have a bit more time in this segment. So I want to jump into, a little briefly, because I know we've got to go to break soon, the conversations you have with yourself. Your self-talk determines your self-worth. I shall repeat that. Your self-talk determines your self-worth. So what you are saying to yourself is how you feel about yourself. So this is where it gets hard. There's a committee that meets in our head. And some people have this down packed. They've always been like that. And you know what? Kudos to you. And I'm so happy. And if you're one of these people who've always had positive self-talk, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a like. Let me know that you have always had this positive person in your head speaking to you, cheering you on, telling you you could do it. A lot of us, however, don't. The negative committee meets in our head on a regular basis. Every time we have an idea or we embark on an adventure or we try to get something new done or we change the negative Nelly and sad Sal and doubting Debbie, they all get their papers, they sit down and they start to tell you about all the things you've done wrong all your life. Well, you know, when you were 3 and you messed that up, and you know what? We have to be very cautious. Now I can't speak. See, my words are leaving me. We have to be very aware of that committee, that meeting that's happening in our heads. How do you change that? What do you do to change that? Well, there are 3 ways to talk yourself up. And if you pull that one up, Selena, before we go to break, 3 ways to talk yourself up. Now, first, as I was saying, what does Erica keep saying? Oh my goodness. Think about your thinking. You got to think about what you're thinking about. It's complicated and it's easy. Or rather, it's easy, but it's hard. That's better. Listen to what you're saying to yourself. Notice what your inner voice is saying. Is your self-talk mostly positive or is it mostly negative? Each day, oh Lord, paper and pen. Each day, make a note on what you're thinking. And when we come back from this break, we're going to go over the next 2 steps to talk yourself up, to change your self-talk, because how we speak to ourselves, we're always with us, and it's a constant conversation. So we have to change it if we want to empower ourselves. We will be right back after this break.
Yo, this is Conscience, and you're watching my TCN TV network. Peace.
Benjamin Law, we understand the real cost of personal injuries. As the victim of an accident, you may be the one who's physically hurt, but your main concern is that your family are the ones who will pay the price. Benjamin Law will be there for you, helping, supporting, and working tirelessly to resolve your personal injury case. Call 1-855-899-4878 or visit benjaminlaw.ca and let our family of lawyers help your family.
Welcome back to this edition of What Matters. I am your host, Erica Elita. You are here on TCN Network, the Toronto Caribbean Network. We are the station for unbiased, uncensored news. We will be streaming live from my TCN TV coming this summer. So look out for a lot of great things coming up. So today, what are we talking about? We're talking about words. We're talking about what I talk with, words. They're so important. They matter so much in everything we do. And as Simone said in the show before this, that, she's very conscious about the things that she says, really pays attention to the words that she's using. They leave such a strong impression, obviously, on the people that you're speaking to, about them, and really about yourself. It says so much about what you think about yourself. And there's a direct correlation about through the importance of how important you think someone else is and how important you think you are, and then the correlation of your styles. And actually, I might share that with you in the comments afterwards. So we were talking about 3 ways to talk yourself up, right? So talking yourself up is basically like not talking yourself down. It's encouraging yourself and boosting your own ego. You live in your head. You're always with you. No matter whose approval you seek, no matter how many likes you get on social media, if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't like yourself, it will never feel good. So the first thing, as I say, think about your thinking, listen to what you're saying, pay attention to it. Is it negative? Is it positive? And maybe start jotting down notes. Now, writing, which might be the next thing that I talk about, writing is so important. When we write things down, it has actually a different impression in our brain. There is something that happens between writing things down and learning. And it has been proven time and time again that you could actually learn better, more effectively from writing down information during a lecture than having it handed to you and studying it for a long period of time. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to listen to what you're saying. Then you're going to challenge, step 2, challenge your self-talk. You're going to challenge what you say to yourself. So is there any actual evidence for what I'm thinking? Is this based on anything besides your own imagination? Imaginations are good, but is there anything that this is based on? What would I say if a friend were in a similar situation? That is really good. Speak to yourself like you're your best friend. The same love and courtesy and care that you give your friends, give them to yourself. And if you don't give your friends love and care and courtesy, you need to reassess that too. But speak to yourself like someone you are deeply in love with, how you would speak to them, how you'd make sure they were okay. So you want to challenge your self-talk. Is it valid? What would I say if this was someone else? Sometimes we give great advice to others and can't deal with our own lives. And can I do anything to change what I'm feeling bad about? So is it whatever you're feeling bad about, can you do something to change it? Or are you just going to sit in your head and have this little conversation about how useless you are and how bad things always go? And then here's the big dramatic final step, is to change your self-talk. So you make a list of all the positive things about yourself. Papers, pens, writing. Okay, fine, do it in your phone, but make a list of the things that are wonderful about you. Instead of saying, I'll never be able to do this, try, is there anything I can do to help me? So again, it's changing your words, and it takes an effort. If you've been in the habit of telling yourself how stupid you are for decades in your head, that is not going to change overnight. But first, you have to be aware of it. Got to listen to yourself. Then you have to challenge it. Is it valid? Does it come from anywhere? Am I repeating the words that were told to me from someone else? Again, words matter. What we tell our children, what we tell our workmates, what we tell our neighbors, these all matter. But then we internalize the words of others often, and we start telling ourselves the same story, and it becomes our story, what we believe it to be. And then you change it. It takes work, but as soon as you catch yourself in that train of thought where, oh, you're so stupid, why did you do that? Nope. It was a great opportunity that you took. It didn't work out. And now that's right, it's positive thinking. And now I've learned something new and I can do something else with it. So it takes time and it takes effort because you're always in your head. And once you start realizing how much you do it, you're like, wow, I am negative Nelly. But now you know where a lot where the source of all that negative energy is coming from. It's from you. And believe me, when you're thinking that way about yourself, you exude it. And either you will show it through being very, very docile and what's the word I'm looking for, passive, or you're going to be aggressive to try to cover it up and go out with a lot of bravado because you don't want people to know how insecure you feel and how ineffective and not sufficient you feel. So, again, that's the way to do it. That is the way to talk yourself up. Be aware of it, challenge it. Is there any validity to it? And if there is, change what you need to. Get the help, reach out the hand, use the words. And, vulnerability is extremely powerful. I know that sounds like such an oxymoron, but when you are honest about what you need and how you feel, you will be amazed at what will come to you and how much help you will receive when you're honest about needing help and wanting to be helped. So, before we do wrap up and before we go, remember that if you are someone, and here's another great word for you that wasn't used a lot before, but now it's used all the time, privilege. Um, in doing this segment, in researching for this segment, it brought me back to that idea of privilege. And we often think of it in the context of skin color or finances, but then there's skill sets that make you privileged. And there's a great privilege in being articulate and being able to express yourself easily and be well understood. Not everybody has that privilege. As we speak about communication and using our words correctly, there are some people who can barely get words out. Or because of their negative self talk or a negative talk that was done to them, they doubt their intelligence so much that they stumble over their words or are afraid to speak. So, when we think about words, we also have to think about the people who are not privileged to have the manipulation of them that a lot of us do. So, if you have that power where you can speak clearly and articulately, use it, develop it, grow it, strengthen it, because your voice is needed in the world. And the way to stick up for yourself and to stick up for others, to champion for others, advocate for others, is to make your voice clear. But make sure that the voice that speaks to you in your head is the clearest and most positive of all. So before I wrap up tonight, I just wanted to remind you all, if you were here last week, I was here with Coach Drew. And we spoke about the power of dreams. So last week was the power of dreams. This week it's the power of words. There is a lot of power inside of us. And one of the powerful things that Andrew will be doing in a week, he will be leaving to go to Portugal. He is doing the 10K giveaway. So this is for the Angel Network. Andrew did an amazing interview on a trafficking survivor. His interview, go to his page, check it out. It honestly was mind-blowing. The details she gave, the explanation, and the recount of her being in that life and getting out. And basically, the Angel Network is a network that are the women that were in this trade, in the sex trade, unwillingly, and how they got out. And now they're reaching out and they're helping others. So that's what this drive is for. Andrew's looking to raise 10K before he leaves to go to Portugal to speak. So head on over to coachdrew.ca. The link is right there. You can use your credit card, your PayPal, whatever. $5 will do, whatever you have to give. But this is something that is really important and needs to be addressed because our young people are suffering, male and female. Because believe me, the women in this trade are being violated in ways we can't understand. And the men that are putting them there, and often there's also women that put them there are issues that are so deep with them as well. So we have a whole generation, a whole generation of people to save from sex trafficking and this dark world where so many of them don't want to be. And again, I do have to put a shout out. This is not all sex workers. If this is something that you do because you want to do, that's different. We're talking about the people who are forced into this sex trafficking and so forth. So coachdrew.ca, you can give to the 10K giveaway. And I wanted you to, again, check out really, it was such a great show. It actually almost made me leap for mine because I was so enthralled watching it. Check out Here to Help, TCN Network. They're on every Tuesday right before me, 5 o'clock. And when you get off of this, just go scroll on back, mytcntv.com, and give it a listen. I am telling you, you will learn something. So like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think, how you feel, what you want to hear in the comments. And as always, I'm so happy to be here with you. I love talking to you, and let me know what you want to hear next. So I will see you next week here on What Matters.